Last season, Arsenal had one of the best attacks in the Premier League, scoring 91 goals, just 5 behind Man City, who scored 97 and ended up being champions of the Premier League. The season before that, Arsenal had scored 88 goals, again second to Manchester City, who were champions, and Arsenal came second to winning the trophy in both seasons. However, there was a big improvement on the attack. It looked like Mikel Arteta was putting the puzzles together and they were fitting. Kai Havertz, who was just coming last season, scored 13 goals. Leandro Trossard scoring 12. And of course, our top scorer in Bukayo Saka scoring 16. Mikel Arteta, however, still thinks that there is a room for improvement with Arsenal, especially on that forward line. Obviously, we wanted to sign in Benjamin Sesko in this summer. That didn't happen, and now Arsenal are changing their eyes, and we are now turning to Williams. So the question is, if Mikel Arteta has one of the best attacks in the Premier League, he's got Kai Havertz, who scored 12 last season, and he can actually do better. Leandro Trossard himself scored 12, he can do better. And Bukayo Saka, he's not really reached his ceiling. He scored 16. There's a possibility that next season, Saka could score 17, 18, or even 25 goals in the coming campaign. So why would we add with Nico Williams? Why is it very vital that Arsenal add a player as versatile as Nico Williams, young, talented, electric, but also one that provides a lot of quality and very different options? In this video, we're going to be diving into how Arsenal would set up with Nico Williams, first and foremost. Secondly, what is that one quality that Nico Williams has that Arsenal don't have in their entire squad? We've seen a lot of versatility with players like Gabriel Jesus, Leandro Trossard, Gabriel Martinelli, and even Saka himself. But when we talk about versatility and we talk about Nico Williams, there is something special about this boy. So this is a video where we dive into how Nico Williams would make Arsenal the unstoppable attack. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into it. So first and foremost, next season, I really presume that Arsenal would set up in a 4-3-3. That is how we've set up last season and even the season before that. And the 4-3-3 that Mikel Arteta loves very much has come very close to winning Arsenal the title on 2 occasions. Actually, to put that into perspective, the 4-3-3 made sure that Arsenal win 16 out of their last 18 games in the Premier League season. That was impeccable. That was immense. The only team that managed to do that was Manchester City, bettering the record and therefore ending up as champions of the Premier League. So the 4-3-3, in my opinion, Julian Timber will be playing at left back. We shall see the same, centre back pairing with Gabriel and Saliba at the heart of the centre back. Benjamin White, honestly, for me, one of the most improved players in that Arsenal team. Martin Odegaard, Thomas Partey, and Declan Rice will dominate the midfield unless there is something that changes. Arsenal making a big signing or Thomas Partey leaving. That should be the midfield we see starting next campaign. Nico Williams, for me, who is a little bit younger than Trossard and very, very, very energetic and again very impressive, would come and slot in right away on the left hand side. Kai Havertz in the middle, and Bukayo Saka is not going anywhere. I mean, we've had debates of Arsenal fans saying Saka should be replaced, Saka should be benched. That is utter nonsense. So this would be the starting 11 for Arsenal. Occasionally, you would have Leandro Trossard starting on the left hand side, or even Gabriel Martinelli starting on the left-hand side as well. If you disagree with my starting 11 for next campaign, hit the like button, but let me know in the comment box below. But why Nico Williams? That's the question that we all have got to ask ourselves. Why would Nico Williams come in at Arsenal and become a vital player? Why would he come in and make Arsenal unstoppable? So with Nico Williams, I think this is how Arsenal would line up without Nico Williams, first and foremost. Gabriel Martinelli on the left, Kai Havertz down through the middle, and Saka right on the right-hand side. Now, the thing with Gabriel Martinelli is that he's a very direct player. If you talk about direct players, if you're talking about players that are very, very direct, he is a very direct player. So in terms of running at defenders, in terms of, explosive pace, in terms of, not being fearful, being brave, that is the player Arsenal have in their side. And you'll find it that defenders have it a very, have a very hard time defending against Gabriel Martinelli as compared to defending against Saka. The thing is, Saka is a very good player, but Saka is not as brave and he's not as determined as Gabriel Martinelli. Martinelli will take you on whether you are Konate, Gabriel, Virgil van Dijk, William Saliba. He doesn't really care. He will take you on and he'll look to either beat you with pace or beat you with anything he can. And we saw that in the Liverpool game that we beat them 3-1 at the Emirates Stadium. He goes shoulder to shoulder with Virgil van Dijk. In my mind, I'm like, how is such a small player going shoulder to shoulder with Van Dijk, knocking him off and winning a free tapping in the back of the net? So that is Gabriel Martinelli. He's a direct player, but also he's a very, very, fearless player. The other thing you get with Gabriel Martinelli is finishing. Now, with players like Leandro Trossard and Martinelli, you're sure if he gets 2 chances, he's going to bury one of them. And that is one of the things that I appreciate about him. That's one of the things that I really like, about him as a player. He always turns up, and when he turns up, you know it is time to score goals. So, for me, Nelly starts the beginning of the season, right? Saka, of course, Kai, with his goal scoring form, and now he's in Germany. He's also doing very well for them at the Euros. He definitely starts, and Saka as well. These are the options Arsenal have in terms of replacement. So this is the first thing that Nico Williams adds to this Arsenal side. So you'd have, Williams replacing, Martinelli. You also have Leandro Trossard replacing Gabriel Martinelli. You have Gabriel Jesus right there, ready to replace Kai Havertz. And on the right-hand side, that is where we would say we don't have a player really. Apart from Fabio Vieira, who I have been a little bit unconvinced about his presence, as a Bukayo Saka replacement. I think Arsenal could do better. So that is the first thing Arsenal get in Nico Williams, because he's a very versatile player. Leandro Trossard will continue to deputize Gabriel Martinelli, but we have a player here in Williams that gives us exact quality on the right-hand side when we don't have Saka. Now, some people would say there are not so many games where Arsenal would play without Saka, and maybe I agree, maybe I disagree, but some of the games we have seen where Arsenal play without Bukayo Saka, Everton at the Emirates Stadium, end of season. That is a game where I felt like Arsenal really needed the services of Saka. It was stale. It was going in the wrong direction. And although Martinelli played in that position, I wouldn't say that Martinelli really gave us a good game or a top game that you get from a player like Bukayo Saka on the right-hand side. So definitely that game highlighted one or two things. The one thing that I picked up is Arsenal need a Bukayo Saka competition. I don't think we need someone to sit on the bench and just wait for Saka to get injured. I think we need someone that provides competition and someone that is ready to step up. So that's the first thing you get. You get quality, in all areas. It means that when Arsenal are not playing Saka, right? He's out of the team. We are playing Williams, and he is electric. When Arsenal are not playing Gabriel Martinelli, we are playing either Trossard or we are playing Nico Williams. Versatile, can play on either flank. But what about when he's on the pitch? What is the difference that he creates while he's on the pitch, apart from his role in the squad? Now, Nico Williams, just like Gabriel Martinelli, you have brave players. That is one thing that Mikel Arteta would get from Nico Williams. That's the one thing that he would get from, Gabriel Martinelli. Imagine, this is just a scenario, Arsenal having Williams on the right-hand side and Gabriel Martinelli on the left-hand side. This would be disastrous to the fullbacks. This would be disastrous to the opposition that we are trying to play. Here in these two, you have two very young players. Nico Williams is 21 and Gabriel Martinelli is just turning 22. So both of them are very happy to make the pitch as wide as possible, but both of them are very good at beating you 1v1 and just carrying the ball into this dangerous area where the likes of Kai Havertz are and the likes of Martin Odegaard are always making late runs into the box together with Declan Rice. So that is the first thing that you get with them. You have two brave players, and I think this is something that Arsenal would do, especially in games where you're having Saka being dealt with very well by an opponent. We have seen this in games where Newcastle employed Dan Burn against Saka and he outplays him, where Aaron Van Bissaka goes against Saka and he outplays him, or at times where you have had Nathan Ake play against Saka and Ake gets the better of Saka. What you need in that situation, you need a change of pace. you need a change of personnel, and you need a change of ideas. The thing with Nico Williams, and the advantage that he has over Saka, he has a very good left foot, and Saka has a very good left foot too. But Nico Williams has got a very good right foot as well. We're talking about a player who can whip it in right, with his right foot. Also a player who can whip it in with his left foot. That is Nico Williams. That is the advantage of having such a player in the squad. And that's the advantage of having such a player, in the lineup, because it makes you have a cheat code. Gabriel Martinelli on the other side, obviously, his left foot is very weak. You wouldn't want to trust him. But again, in Gabriel Martinelli, you have a pace changer. For example, if Trossard starts for around 60 minutes, just a little bit there, Trossard starts for 60 minutes or 70 minutes, and it's not working. He's not getting over, the full back. He's not running in behind. He's not getting the joy that we would want. We just take off Leandro Trossard right away and bring on Gabriel Martinelli, who changes the pace of the game. And this is what I'm excited for with Arsenal next season. Two players in Martinelli and Williams that could come on and have an impact close to when Manchester City bring on Doku and bring on Grealish at the same time. So watch out for those two. It's going to be interesting if Arsenal complete the signing of Nico Williams. It will be absolutely interesting. So that is the other way he makes us unstoppable. That when we take off the first bunch of players and we bring on Martinelli and Williams, it is fresh, it is young, it is new, it is full of ideas. The second way is low blocks. Arsenal really struggle with low blocks. I don't want anyone to tell me about, well, Arsenal this and that. Arsenal really struggle with low blocks. Now, with Kai Havertz, he's not a player that helps you beat the low block very much. So in terms of a low block, Arsenal playing a team that is defensive, they're just sitting in defense, and they're just trying to repel whatever kind of attack Arsenal are putting there. This is the starting three that could break down a low block. For example, a club like Burnley, if they were still in the Premier League. Burnley were not defensive. Sheffield or Luton, something like that. You get the point. Everton. Gabriel Jesus, because he's very, very versatile, and he's got this ability to run into this space here, carrying a few defenders with him, and of course allowing Declan Rice and Odegaard to run past him, would be a very key player in a game where Arsenal are looking to break down an opposition. So I would definitely play Gabriel Jesus up top in a game where there is not a lot of space to run in behind, and therefore Kai Havertz wouldn't be that useful. To break down the low block, you will need a player like Gabriel Martinelli. And why you need a player like Gabriel Martinelli, first and foremost, he makes the pitch as wide as possible. So even if they're playing a back five, Gabriel Martinelli will stretch them, and you guess who? Another player that you can bring on to stretch the play is Nico Williams. Williams, again, is another young player that can help you, break the low block, or bypass the low block very, very well. Both of them have got individual brilliance. So imagine Martinelli on this far end beats a player and just drives into this area here. At the same time, Nico Williams is doing the same thing on the right hand side. He beats players and drives into this area here. Obviously, you won't have Gabriel Jesus because he's dropping a little bit deeper, but Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard, as they arrive, would be feeding off very, very good chances. So in terms of beating low blocks, I don't know what I just did there. In terms of beating low blocks, Arsenal really struggled with low blocks a lot last season. And one of the reasons that's why we struggled with low blocks last season was we didn't have enough options in terms of, if we take off Saka, who do we bring on? If we take off Trossard, who do we bring on? Saka is a good player, and in most of the cases, he actually works very well. The problem with Saka is he can be dealt with easily by players like Dan Burn, by players like Nathan Ake, by players like Bissaka. You can easily deal with him. The thing with Trossard is, he really doesn't help you bypass the low block. He doesn't carry the ball and drive past players. He doesn't carry the ball and be as direct as Martinelli, and Martinelli was out of form. So Arsenal really struggled a little bit with low blocks at times, especially when Martin Odegaard didn't find the perfect pass, the perfect ball through. So why Arsenal for me would be unstoppable and unbreakable with this new attack of Nico Williams is you don't necessarily have to start him in every game. All you have got to do is make sure you give him enough amount of minutes, and you give him the chance to impact games, and you give him the chance to change games as well. But even if he started games, imagine taking off Nico Williams at 60 minutes and you're bringing on Gabriel Martinelli. You're bringing on Leandro Trossard. You're bringing on, Gabriel Jesus. I think he is a cheat code that Arsenal could use to win the Premier League. He would change games. He would change games like the Aston Villa game that we failed to win. He would change games like the Fulham game games that we failed to win, and he would change the games like the West Ham game that we failed to win. This is the cheat code. And when clubs, and when we are forced back into, a very defensive shape like we did against Man City, we have pace, and that pace is in Saka, Martinelli, Kai Havertz, who runs much more than people give him credit to, and Nico Williams. So for me, Arsenal get this done. Arsenal sign this guy. Arsenal's attack will be pretty much unstoppable.